I want to just kind of start with the elephant in the room and ask you what it's like to be the only conservative on this council, and if that's a challenge that you welcome.
I definitely welcome the challenge, but I also look at it as an opportunity to form relationships with people that I might not necessarily agree with. Especially on the council, we have so much to learn from each other. When we are respectful and collaborative, we can get more things done for the city.
What is your relationship like with Mayor Adler or your colleagues? Like, are y'all going out and getting coffee or catching up?
You know, it's so funny that you ask that. I actually have a girls' night tonight with 2 other council members. We're gonna go have some wine and hang out and talk about things, how they're going. I have other council members who they check in with me regularly. I think I went in with a good mindset. I let them know I didn't want to be mean. I didn't want to throw firebombs everywhere. I wanted to collaborate and communicate, and I've been doing my darndest to stay respectful.
I do want to ask you about a tweet from earlier this month. It was a picture of some of your colleagues having a virtual meeting. Caption said, "My colleagues spend time at home and don't venture into the public. How do they know what is really going on? They should venture out and talk to those experiencing homelessness and not deliver hyperbole." Is that something that you've come across frequently so far in your experience on the council?
So I regrettably tweeted that out of anger and frustration for what happened to me earlier that day. I was nearly assaulted by somebody who was homeless, and then I saw them in a Zoom press conference. And it frustrated me because those members in particular I hadn't seen at City Hall very often. I'm here every day. I walk outside. I see a lot of what other Austinites see. And I was overly critical in my frustration, and what I should have done is talk to them privately about how I felt about the city so that we could make meaningful change. I did apologize to those council members when they reached out to me about it, and I learned from the experience that's not the way that policy is done, by grandstanding and having empty statements made. The real progress happens behind closed doors and in a collaborative manner.
You were elected, obviously, for a reason. What do you think that reason is?
I think that people in the city of Austin didn't like, especially my district, didn't like the direction that the city was headed, which is what got me interested in running for office this time around. I think that homelessness, which was a big part of my campaign, and that lack of action on taking care of the people who are unsheltered really resonated with my community. I think that we were headed in a poor direction with defunding the police, and you know, there's always better ways to do things, but the defunding narrative was not laid out in a way that was well articulated to the community, much like our homeless situation. But we have to find the right messaging so that the community can understand the choices that are being made and not get angry and make mean tweets.
How does it feel, though, to sometimes be the only voice for or against these issues that you're talking about?
I joke with people because they say, well, you're just one city council member. And I say, well, I'm also kind of the mayor of the Republicans. And in a lighthearted way, I do need to speak up and use my voice on the dais when it's appropriate. It doesn't feel lonely at all because I know that I have a cadre of support behind me and backing me. And everybody who elected me or gave money to my campaign to get me where I am believes in me. And so I just want to go to bed at the end of the day knowing that I made a difference in the city of Austin and wake up knowing there's more to do.
You mentioned your district and obviously the residents that elected you, and we watched you really go to bat for them over the controversial homeless hotel purchase in Williamson County. I'm just kind of curious what that battle was like, you know, internally here at City Hall, but also externally and out talking to them.
I learned from the community that it wasn't a good location. And when you look at other purchases like the Texas Bungalows Hotel and Suites, it's not really near any residences. This hotel in particular is less than 950 feet from a high school. It's right next to families' homes where children are in the backyard, and rightfully so, they're worried about their kids and their safety. So what I would have preferred to have happen is more advanced notice, but being new on the council, that wasn't possible because real estate purchases happen behind the scenes in executive session. And then I would have liked to have educated the community.
So of course, right now, Austin voters are going to the polls or casting their ballots. Prop B is a measure that you have very publicly supported. It doesn't seem like that's how your colleagues see the issue as well. Why do you stand where you do on that particular measure?
I think that it's probably difficult for my colleagues who were on the dais before me, who actually voted to repeal the camping ban. I think it's hard for them to say, yeah, we made a mistake. I don't think it should be a crime for somebody to be homeless, but I also don't think the burden should be entirely on the city to fix the homeless situation. We do need nonprofit partners to get involved, and we need to lift these people out of their situation.
In your first 100 days, besides co-sponsoring that HEALS initiative, what other specific actions have you either initiated or participated in really to tackle that issue that you campaigned on?
I think permanent supportive housing is a great idea. I think that we're helping lift people out of homelessness by providing them a place to live and stay. And we're also giving them those wraparound services that are also important for them. And what I'd really like to see happen is some sort of interim solution where we provide a place for people to camp that maybe aren't ready for a home. A lot of the people who I've spoken to who are homeless, they like living in a tent. That's just what they want. And so we still need to reach out to them and provide them solutions as well.
Also, from your Twitter, I've seen, a lot of interaction and a lot of meetings and support of you for the law enforcement officers and agency. And that doesn't really seem like a relationship that we've necessarily seen between a council member and our law enforcement agency, in recent years. What are you getting out of those conversations and meetings, and how are those kind of being interpreted?
The biggest takeaway is that officers are thankful that they finally have somebody on council who will be a voice for them. I always thought it was important to grow up respecting law enforcement, and so what I saw happen last year with the reimagining of public safety or defunding of the police really hurt my heart, because these people are out every day, they put on their badge, they put on their belts, and they're willing to get hurt to help save people and to help fix situations that are bad. They see people on the worst days of their lives. I went to the hospital to visit our officer who was shot in the foot, and I did that because it was the right thing to do. Our officers really do care about the job that they do, and they need that support because morale over there is really low. We have to be kind to each other. It's kind of like with that tweet that I put out. It really shouldn't have happened. Defunding the police probably could have gone down a different way if the messaging was different. You learn from people by talking to them, not by being mean to them.
And what would you say your next 100 days look like?
We're going to roll out policies, and we're going to do a bunch of different things that are going to make the city a better place. And I'm going to still be that tireless warrior for public safety and make sure that our homeless situation is also, I think, well implemented would be a good way to say that. I did request a special audit of homeless spending, and so through the city auditor's office, that'll come out in September. So I'm looking forward to that, because at the end of the day, it's not just my city, it's everybody else's too, and I want to do the best job I can to make the quality of life for everybody here better. I'm here for you as a voter and as somebody who lives here in Austin. I want to make this place better, and I think when you think and approach things like that you just want to go every day to do something better, that's the right mindset.